Hi, it's Lucas from Vocal College, and in this very short video I'm going to go over some of the workflow with creating a spline and then adding a lathe modifier to create objects like cups, or in this case a wooden goblet. So you can see I've already prepared my blueprints and got them in the middle of my scene here, and I've also set up my units so everything's to scale. So I've got centimetres, and 1 unit equals 1 centimetre. To demonstrate, to show, if I just create a box in the middle of the scene here, make that about 25 centimetres high, it's the same height as my goblet, which is the height that I want it to be. So just delete that box. Now we're just going to go into the front viewport by pressing F. Then we want to go shapes, line, and just quickly, using our reference points, we'll draw a line over the top of that. You can still zoom and move around the viewport using the mouse wheel as per normal. And just right click to finish off that line there. So at the end of the line, we want this to be in the very middle of the scene. So you have a look at this number here, that's the X, and we move that. So we just right click the wheel to spin that, put that to 0, and again for the bottom line down here. Then you can go through and just adjust and tune any of the verts that you're not totally happy with. So once you're done with that, we'll just go back out to the perspective viewport. You can see so that line is drawn over the top of where the blueprint is, but we also want to affect the pivot point, because we want this to be down here for 0, so when it lathes it, it turns it around that point there. So again, you can right click the little spinner wheels and set everything back to 0. So once you've done that, that's down to 0. We'll just go to the modify tab over here. Let's give our line a name, so we'll call that M_goblet. And from our modifier list, roll that down. Let's just select the lathe. So you can see straight off, that's created our cut. We'll just hide unselected because we don't need the blueprint anymore. And within that, there's a couple of options that we just want to check on. Important one is, so you can see getting some funny edges here. If we check this weld core, that'll weld the verts in the middle and make that all watertight, and it'll also get rid of those strange artifacts that were going on there. The other option that we want down the bottom here is generate mapping chords, and what that does is it generates the UV mapping coordinates for it, so we don't have to worry about that later on. So you can see if I go through here and turn the edges off, we've got some of our hard faces here, which I'd like to get rid of. So what we can do on top of this lathe is, within the lathe, you can go through and you can still adjust some of the verts to show end result. If you do that, you can go through and adjust it in real time, or you can see the final result, which is quite good for going through and making sure that you've got everything perfect. But once you do have everything pretty much sorted out and where you'd like it to be, we need to go through and fix these smoothing groups. So to do that, we're going to go back out of that, go to the top, and we're going to add on top of it an edit poly. So this has now turned it into a polygon where you can grab and move individual verts or faces, whatever you like, but we're going to use this mode to fix the smoothing groups up. So I guess the start that we want is, let's go to the front viewport. So pressing F3, you can go to wireframe mode, and let's just do a bit of a selection through there. So I might grab the whole thing and clear all, and I'm going to set them all to 1. So now you can see it's all using the same smoothing group, but there's just a couple of areas that I want to break up and have as individuals. So say for example through there, I'll make that 2. It gives us a nice hard edge there. The same for this little bit in the middle here, change that to a different one. There you can see we go to the perspective viewport. That now broken up the smoothing groups and everything's all pretty sorted. So that's sort of a first pass at what you would want for your main part before you go into unwrapping and texturing. So you could then right click, convert to editable poly. That's looking pretty good now with all the smoothing groups and everything done. It's at this point that it's ready to start the UV unwrapping and then start painting textures for it, which we'll get into soon.